We have 300 hamburgers, many French fries.
In the name of Jesus, we thank you.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
President Trump has been an embarrassment to this country.
There are those that think I'm a very stable genius.
His conduct, it's a combination of like the American Mussolini meets Dr. Frankenstein.
That's really bullshit.
President Trump is the most polarizing political figure of our lifetime.
So you're asking what will happen if Trump's reelected? You got any more room in Australia?
Welcome to Conservative Grounds. My name's Cliff Gephardt. We support the conservative way of life. When you walk in the door, there's a mural of a Second Amendment with about 35 guns on the wall. This is our Oval Office that we created to welcome the customers into Conservative Grounds. We've probably had about 30,000 photos taken of this and put on social media. We have pictures of Trump's family, his father, his mother, Melania and Barron, that sit behind the Resolute desk. Is this your first time here?
For these Americans, forget that more than 200,000 people have died in the pandemic, forget the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, and forget Donald Trump's 20,000 odd lies in office, tallied by the Washington Post. Their president can do no wrong.
He's not a politician, he's a businessman, and that's what we need.
I think Trump supporters are loyal to the end. I think it's because they see something in him that they've never seen in another politician, where he's keeping his promises that he made, he's doing what he campaigned on.
What Mr. Trump's got going on in his base is fairly unique to the United States. So his base believes that there is a great culture war going on inside the United States. And white Americans that are older see a nostalgia in that.
I've been talking to people at President Trump's rallies and supporters for 4 years now. And every time I talk to them and I ask them about something that has been in the news or something that he's done or some criticism, they don't believe it. They just really, they either don't believe it or just don't care.
President's National Security Advisor Michael Flynn forced to resign.
FBI Director James.
Many die-hard Trump supporters don't care about the chaos that's been evident from day one of the administration. In fact, they like it because it shows how much Trump is shaking up a system that's not worked for them.
Anthony Scaramucci demanded his Attorney General Jeff Sessions got what he wanted.
Rex Tillerson out as Secretary of State. Expected to step down.
One of the shortest-serving members of the Trump administration, at just 11 days, is his former communications director, Anthony Scaramucci. Mr. Scaramucci, it's Lee Sales here. Can you hear me?
Oh my God, wait a minute. You're the one that karate chopped Sarah in the Adam's apple. Could somebody please pass me my athletic supporter and protection and the helmet? Could you pass the helmet over here, please?
Can the president tell the difference between the truth and a lie?
100%. No, the president absolutely knows when he's lying, and he's often turned to aides and staff members and said, yeah, only believe about half of what I'm saying.
Nothing has better illustrated the compulsive lying and recklessness of Trump than the coronavirus pandemic. It's taken an unbelievable toll on Americans.
My name is Christelle Cadet. I'm a paramedic for the fire department of New York City. Initially, myself and a lot of my other coworkers weren't really threatened by it. We were just like, oh, it's another flu-like virus that's coming around. I was at work. I was at the station, I was seeing patients themselves, and at some point I contracted the virus, and then I got severely sick pretty quickly. I was in a coma for 30 days. I remember briefly right before they sedated me, I remember the doctors telling me that it's gonna be okay, they're gonna take care of me. And then when I woke up, I was really shocked and surprised. I'm like, what do you mean? It's been a month. What day is it?
While the virus surged through America, the president downplayed its severity and mocked mask wearing.
It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. I mean, honestly, what the hell did he spend all that money on the plastic surgery if he's going to cover it up with a...
More than 220,000 have died so far. 1,000 Americans are still dying every day. Millions, like Christelle Cadet, have had their lives changed forever.
It was on oxygen 24 hours a day. Now it's always just on standby as needed. I went from completely unable to walk to ambulating with a cane now.
Water?
My life.
American presidents don't do what Mr. Trump is doing. He's lying about the disease. Mr. Trump lives in his own reality distortion field.
Nothing changed even when Trump himself contracted the virus. He exposed his Secret Service detail unnecessarily, and while pumped full of an experimental cocktail of drugs, proclaimed himself cured in a reality TV-style event.
Don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it.
Do be afraid. It is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous and active virus.
Sam Nunberg worked on Donald Trump's 2016 campaign.
If he had any semblance of trying to win this election, he would have just said, now I understand why some of you were upset with me about this and how you thought that I didn't take this seriously. And I want to apologize to you. No, he made it about himself.
There have been so many examples of appalling behaviour, including in the lead up to the last election, and none of it turned Trump's base against him. What do you think would be different now?
We're never going to get his base. He could proverbially shoot people on Fifth Avenue, but there's a good 10 or so % of the people that can be convinced that he's a systemic threat to America. He's a threat to the democracy. And obviously, because of the way he's mishandled the healthcare crisis, he's a threat to their lives.
The number one issue for seniors is COVID. That's a swing group that Republicans and this president won last time in 2016. He's losing them by anywhere from 10 points to 15 points. He's just lost women.
The important question this election is just how many of those Americans who voted for Trump last time have lost faith after 4 years of him.
When you hit the ball down the line, carry the ball on the strings as long as possible.
My name is Sean Biancoli. I teach tennis right in the heart of Palm Beach, where the president resides and where the Winter White House is. As soon as I could vote, I was so proud to be a Republican, just like everyone in my family.
Turn your shoulders.
With the election between Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump, I started doing videos in support of Donald Trump. I can't say I was a fanatic, however, actually, no, you know what? Let me roll that back. Yes, I was.
We did it. We all did it. Donald J. Trump is our 45th president. The White House is the swamp. Enough of trying to undermine President Trump.
I thought, you know what? This is the guy that's going to beat Hillary Clinton. And that's what it's about. I was angry about Benghazi, but you know what? Benghazi, 4 men died. From COVID, over 200,000 Americans have died. So, at this moment right now, I wish to God Hillary Clinton had been elected president.
The lifelong Republican still blogs under the name GOP Girl, but she says the party is no longer her home.
He has been very effective in turning the Republican Party into the Trump Party, where you either follow him or you're not a Republican, and that's not true. I will be voting for the former Vice President, Joe Biden. I honestly fear for this nation under Donald Trump.
Today we're having MAGA in the Bay. It's kind of a one-off boat parade. There's hundreds and hundreds of boats that have already gone by. It's just trying to accomplish to get the word out, to support our president, Donald Trump, to help him get reelected.
Here to show our patriotic support for our awesome president. Over 4 more years, here we come.
For these voters, Trump is still an intoxicating figure. And such is his power over his conservative base that the Republican Party has bowed to his every whim, alienating heavyweights such as George W. Bush's former Deputy Secretary of State, Richard Armitage.
The Republican Party is like the 3 major characters in the Wizard of Oz. You got the straw man who has no brain, you've got the lion who has no courage, and you've got the Tin Man who has no heart. And that perfectly sums up, I think, the present state of the Republican Party.
Former Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel agrees. He was one of the most powerful Republicans in Washington during the Bush and Obama administrations. Chuck Hagel, how has the Republican Party caved so comprehensively to Trump's dominance?
Well, I'm disappointed in that because I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican all my life. I've never seen such a lack of courage. Much of the Republican Party has gone along, has been enablers to President Trump because their focus has been power alone.
Trump understands better than anyone how much power he wields over both his party and his diehard supporters, and how he'll choose to use that influence after we learn the election result is anybody's guess.
Don't say that, I'll start to cry, and that wouldn't be good for my image.
Millions and millions of ballots will be in the mail, and we don't know where they're going, to whom, and I just think it's going to be a mess.
I think this country is going to be in pretty bad shape if the so-called Democrats come into power. It'll end up to be a one-party country with something similar to a dictatorship control.
We're in a modern era, it's 2020, and we have an American president that is questioning whether or not he'll allow a peaceful transfer of power, and we're thinking about him potentially inciting violence in America.